Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in on whatever device you're listening on, whether it's a phone, your computer, a tablet, or maybe you're reading the captions somehow on some platform we aren't aware of. But we thank you for tuning in, and welcome back to Off Top Podcast.
Yeah, guys, once again, thanks for tuning in. And Jillian, that was a very apt introduction for what we're about to be talking about today. And that is basically reliance on technology. And I want you to tell the story on how we kind of decided on this podcast.
Yeah, so we decided to talk about the reliance on technology because I recently incurred a problem with my cell phone. And the story begins like this. I was at work, and where I work outside most of the time. And it's, May 23rd or something along those lines. And I'm outside and I'm helping out some people. And this kind of ominous cloud rolls over and it gets a little overcast. And the few days before it's rained a little bit. It's been a little bit warm, so it's kind of just been the crazy weather where we're at. And we're helping out. And I look over across the parking lot to this other parking lot, and it's just pouring down rain. I'm like, and to myself and out loud, I say, wow, I'm glad I'm not over there. That looks miserable. And we're about halfway through, not even halfway of finishing up what we're doing. And it starts to trickle a little. I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad. The wind's going to push the other way. And then the thunder just collapses. And it's like a movie. It just starts pouring rain. Like it was the weirdest experience I've been in rain in a little while. Where within 30 seconds I was drenched in rain. And this rain probably goes on for 15 to 20 minutes while we're finishing up loading and doing what we're doing. And my phone is in my pocket. And I don't have the ability to go put it somewhere safely because we're helping out a customer and whatnot. So I'm thinking to myself, it's in my pocket, that I might be getting wet, but it's not that bad. And we keep going and the parking lot starts to flood up to my crew length sock level. And I'm running through all this water, and I'm kind of laughing because there's nothing you can do. It's just one of those situations where you just kind of push through it. And we keep going, and my shirt's drenched, and I can feel myself getting heavier. And we kind of have probably 10 minutes to go. And I look down, and I'm wearing brown cargo shorts because I was expecting it to be warm. And my cargo shorts are completely see-through. Luckily to me, I was wearing underwear that day, or I didn't have any embarrassing underwear on, but for my cargo shorts to be completely see-through, you kind of get a picture of how hard it was raining. And I still probably have 2.5, 3 hours left on my shift. And we finally finished loading up, and we're just kind of soggily walking inside, thinking about, I'm going to go home to change, what's the game plan here? I take my phone out of my pocket, and it's dripping water. I was like, oh no. And I can't really unlock it or activate it. And then it kind of starts doing some weird things. And the home screen starts coming up every now and again. And I'm like, maybe there's water on the screen. So while I'm coming home to change real quick, the phone, Jordan's doing his thing in his room. And I'm like, hey, can you come look at this? And it gives me an error symbol. It's I think it was a triangle with a red battery or something like that. And I haven't seen it before. So I was like, maybe I'll, test it out or whatever. So I go through the rest of the day, get home at night, and my phone kind of works for a little bit, on airplane mode. And then it goes to this point where it says it's just bouncing back between I don't have a SIM card and I do have a SIM card. And that I can't open any apps. It just says my device is overheating, even though it's super cold. At this point, I have to contact some people that I've made plans with to go see the new Star Wars movie Solo. And luckily, I remembered one of the phone numbers. I don't remember the other one, but I couldn't access my phone numbers to get them. So I had to use Jordan's phone to contact some people. And at that point, I realized how reliant on technology I am, that I don't know anyone's number. So if I was in serious trouble or didn't have a roommate, I wouldn't have any way of contacting these people.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of, if that happened to just anybody, I feel like they would kind of see that same storyline play out in the fact that you were kind of stranded without your phone. And I I personally don't feel like people understand how reliant they are on their phone to just get around, you know?
Yeah, and it was one of those things at first I didn't think about how attached to my phone I am until I realized, like, if you're listening to this, like, think about how many numbers off the top of your head that you know. And then think about, like, if your phone broke and you had to contact, like, a few people that weren't in your main contacts because you had to go to the movies or you had some event the next morning, like, how would you go about it? Like, I had to go on my desktop or my laptop and go on, like, social media sites and comment and hope people saw it. And, I mean, luckily enough, I had Jordan's phone, but there's so many little nuances there that you have that affect your day-to-day life.
Yeah, and I think to the point of, I was thinking about it, and I think that I would much rather my car be disabled for some reason than my phone. And the fact that I rely on my phone more than a way of transportation. Granted, I have a motorcycle as well, but if I didn't have any, like, let's say my motorcycle was down, my car was down, I'd probably choose that over having my phone being, like, permanently down.
Yeah, and I think that's a good example, too, because say you have your phone, you don't have a vehicle, you still have, like, in today's age, you have the ability to call a taxi or an Uber or, like, call a friend. But in today's age, if you don't have a phone, like, you don't have it, and say you, like, your vehicles aren't working, whatever, you don't have a way to really contact anyone, because I don't know, like, you know, I Google, say when your car breaks down, right? You Google, like, tow shop or AAA or something like that. You don't have a phone, your car breaks down, you're sitting on the side of the highway, putting your thumb out there or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that happening to you, Julian, do you feel like you are approaching things a little differently, or, you know, are you just now aware that you are relying on it and aren't going to be surprised next time that you're like, oh, shoot, like I need to communicate with X, Y, or Z or do this and I don't have my phone?
Difficult question. I think the only reason I was in such of a hurry to get a new phone is the basis of like contacts and me already having prearranged plans for that night and that next morning at like 9 a.m. So it wasn't like I had a whole lot of time to do much. I did enjoy like not having to, you know, check social media or YouTube or just kind of being attached at that point. But it was just the fact that not having contacts, which is a huge thing, was a little weird. I don't know how next time will be, but hopefully next time doesn't happen on like unstrange circumstances or something.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, you're right. With your, you know, having things going on in a short amount of time, it makes it more important to have a phone and communicate with others. Do you see that, you know, we're talking about phones right now, but what other technology do you think could just go out like that and people would just be up the creek?
I think people are already up the creek when if you count like Wi-Fi or internet not working, like if you don't have any, you know, source of internet, your phone doesn't have mobile data, like you're kind of stuck in the mud. I mean, you can still contact people and text, but I think Wi-Fi, like all of our TVs work on some sort of Chromecast or Fire Stick or some way to get Netflix. Like that's a lot. Or like Google is one of the things I thought about when my phone's broke. It's like, there's so many things I can't Google. Like I couldn't Google store hours of the place I was getting my phone. I couldn't like Google to price match things. So it was a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah, totally. And it kind of reminds me of, you know, you hear about people that are a little older saying like, well, that's honestly the way we were raised. I mean, you know, if your family had it and was lucky enough to, you had one phone and, you know, you shared that landline with everyone. But if you were out and about and didn't have, you know, if you didn't have concise plans or anything, like you were kind of just free roaming and, you know, nobody could get in contact with you unless you were near a phone or, you know, had some sort of messaging system. And so I just find that to be interesting, that something that we find is such an obstacle is regular life for others.
Yeah. So we have a new segment, new to Jordan too. This is going to be related to tech. I'm going to call this Wah Wah Wee Whoa or Wah Wah Wee No No No. And I'm going to be going over some mobile phone statistics from 2017. And we're going to kind of review if that's wah wah wee whoa, as in like that's kind of interesting, or wah wah wee no, or like that's not good. How do you feel about that?
Wow, we will.
Great. All right. So the first one I'm going to go with is 12% of adults use their phones in the shower.
Are you saying that these are fake or real?
These are all real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is based on a few different studies from like Nielsen, independent studies, and I can't find the third one, but a few different study types.
I would say that's a wow we know on that. When you're in the shower, you should be doing probably one thing. All right, maybe there's probably a list of at least 4 to 5 things that you should be doing or could be doing in the shower. And, tweeting is probably not one of the ones that come to my mind.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Like, what is the benefit? What are you achieving by having your phone in the shower? And I don't feel like you're doing serious business emails in the shower. So
yeah, and you said 12%?
Yep.
12%. Wow.
All right. So the next one is 40% check their cell phones in the toilet.
Oh, I mean, that's a wow. I don't even think that's a wow. Like,
I think it's a wow that I thought it'd be higher than 40%.
Yeah, that would be the only wow part about it.
All right. The next one is 56% of users check their smartphones before sleep, and 75% of users check their smartphones after sleep.
Ugh, that I can understand both. And the fact that you just want to make sure that, the last part of the day, you want to make sure that, business is taken care of. And if anything pops up or if somebody reaches out to you and needs something, that's timely, then you can kind of adjust for it. So I would say that's maybe a wow in the fact that it's very understandable. So not much is a wow is an okay. Wow, were we okay?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that me is I wish I knew the duration on like how quick after someone woke up or how shortly before they went to bed. Like, is it within an hour or is it within like 3 minutes,
Yeah. Personally, what is your time frame as far as checking your phone when you wake up?
When I wake up, it's probably like 10, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 minutes. Like, I mean, not counting my alarm being on my phone, which is a different conversation. But like usually I check my phone when I get to the gym in the morning, just so that I'm not getting like stuck in bed, like scrolling through my feed or something. The weekends are a little different.
Gotcha.
What about you?
Yeah, I was going to say, my alarm is probably the first thing I do. And that's obviously the second I wake up, I grab my phone and turn it off. Besides that, I wake up pretty early and exercise. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll have my phone like help me wake up, and that blue screen light helps kind of like punch my circadian rhythm in the face, and the fact that it wakes me up quite a bit. And so having something bright in my face helps. So I would say probably 5 minutes after I wake up, which sounds pretty extreme.
Yeah.
I
guess especially comparatively to like when phones first came out, or like you had a flip phone or whatever it may be, it probably wasn't like that. But now that everything's on your phone, it's more of a normal thing. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next one. 77% of parents and teens have argued about smartphone usage. 77%.
77%? Well, obviously, that's probably a wow we know. And the fact that, people shouldn't be arguing, like, there shouldn't be a situation where you're arguing about cell phone usage, and the fact that either there's a dependency or unrealistic expectations on how a smartphone should be used.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because obviously our generation has had smartphones most likely the longest at this point, or been interacting with them the longest. And I can see like the parent side, because when I think you're younger and you're on your phone at like dinner or like at a movie or something, it's a little annoying. But like at the same time, as you grow older, you kind of realize like what you're doing or whatever. So I feel like sometimes the arguments are played out.
Yeah, but in the same breath, like sometimes there are people that just like, the thing that bothers me is having social interaction and then stopping it abruptly just to check, your cell phone. And I think that's probably irking, or like at dinner time when everyone's having a conversation and you're just, tapping away on your screen.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to the next set. 50% feel uneasy when they leave their phones at home, and 50% of teens admit that they are addicted to their phones.
That's an absolute wow we know. And the fact that should not even be a thing. I think, like, personally, like you, I think it's pretty freeing to, not have your phone. Obviously, let's say to not have communication, because some people, like, for instance, I could put my phone on airplane mode and nobody can get a hold of me. I still have my music that is on my phone and I could listen to it and just be like kind of like by myself. And so I appreciate that. So leaving your phone at home, that's 50%. That's not good at all. Secondly, the addiction, like, holy cow. What did you say? 50%?
50% half.
Oh, wow.
I think it's higher than that.
You think so?
Yeah, I think 50% are willing to admit. But you think about, this is of teens, right? So 13 through 19, right? I think a lot of them don't admit that they are. But like stats show, another stat is that teens on average are on their phones 4 hours a day, right? You got to think the average person's probably up 16 hours a day. So 4 out of those 16 hours, a fourth of your day, you're just on your phone. And that could be hard to admit because it's not all like you're just sitting on there from, 12 to 4, but throughout the day you're on there.
Periodically, accumulatively on that for 4 hours. That's a long time, man. And if you think about it, that's one day. So like on average, a fourth of a year is spent on your phone. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Or a fourth of your waking hours. That's it.
It's a lot of wasted time. I mean, there's some good stuff you get out there, but a lot of it is just kind of memes and junk, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Extent. I mean, there's always good stuff when it comes to technology, like a phone where you actually have genuine connection and ideas and stuff like that. But is that with the 4 hours? Is that going 4 hours a day? No.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one. I think I know what your answer is going to be on this one. I'm going to put three of them together. 26. No, we're going to go backwards. 75% of users admit that they have texted at once while driving. 56% of parents check their devices while driving. 26% of car accidents are caused by phone usage.
That's an absolute wow we know. I'm probably one of the more staunch people of, I'm really not a big fan of like snapping while driving or anything. And, I'm almost reluctant to say like changing songs while driving is a no-no. And so, yeah, that's horrible, man. Holy cow.
I think the interesting one out of that is that 56% of parents check their devices while driving. Sounds like, that's a good portion. And it sounds like I bet you a lot of those parents are hypocritical to the point where it's like, don't check your phone while driving. It's bad. But they're, in the morning when they're going to work, they're checking their phone or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, let's be honest, man. I would say the majority of people are hypocrites, especially parents, because you're trying to raise somebody to be probably better than you.
Yeah, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, better morals than you. So it's like more of a do as I say, not as I do.
Okay. How about this one? I guess I'll lump two together on this one as well. 61% sleep with phones turned on under a pillow or next to bed.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know what next to bed necessarily means because my phone's on and it's like on my windowsill because I only have like a 3-foot charging cable with this new phone. But like under a pillow, why?
Yeah, that's pretty bad, man. And I feel like that would mess up your sleep as well because let's say your phone vibrates in the middle of the night. Something that close to your head, that's going to wake you up. Jeez.
I feel like I don't know what the small dose of radiation that phones do or if it's very minimal now. But think about it. If you're doing that every night for 10 years, I mean, it's probably not detrimental, but it probably sees some amount of something.
Yeah, and like let's just put aside the things that your phone's receiving, like the radio waves your phone's receiving and like putting out there, that is that next to your head. That just shows an absolute dependency on your phone, and that's just horrible. And there's also cases where phone batteries explode. And so do you want that next to your head while you're not prepared or aware that there's a chemical fire?
That's what when my phone broke recently, that's one of the things I was thinking about when I put it on my windowsill, and it was like, I don't know why I charged it. Maybe just in hopes that it would work or something. But I was like, maybe this thing blows up or overheats and like singes the windowsill it's on. But all right. 1 in 5 people aged 18 to 34 have used their smartphones during sex. 1 in 5.
1 in 5, 20%. Good Lord. I'd say that's a wow. Yeah. I wonder how, either the sex is horrible or it's something so amazing that you need to keep it as a memory for a long time.
See, that's the way I'm looking at it is like, is someone checking their business email or like they taking a call or what's going on there?
Yeah. And what is sex? Like, are we just talking like, oral sex or actual, like, full on?
Yeah.
Or, I'd love to see that broken up in segments, demographics, as far as orientation and age group as well.
And the last one I have here is the average person checks their cell phone blank amount of times a day. What's your guess?
Oh, probably 115.
Oh, wow. 110 times a day.
Let's go.
I mean, obviously that's based, there's probably a range on there, so that's as close as one of the closest ones you can get. So 110 times a day. And then teens are at 4 hours a day. So that is 240 minutes, right?
For 4 hours? Yeah.
Yeah. Divided by 110. So it's roughly
22 minutes, I'd say, a session.
2 minutes? 110 times a day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Around two minutes a session. So yeah, I guess that's where we go back to the statistics of 50% of teens admit that they're addicted. Like if you're only thinking about you're on at 2 minutes at a time, you probably won't realize it, but that adds up.
Yeah, that's pretty insidious for the fact of, 2 minutes here and there and checking it 110 times a day. Holy cow, man.
Yeah. Wow on a lot of those statistics. We odd on some of them as well.
Yeah, seriously. I think that was very telling on as far as like, what people are really doing with their cell phones and how connected we are with that. As far as technology goes, it's amazing. It's great. It makes our lives easier. It makes our lives better in some aspects, but holy hell.
Yeah, I mean, that was only 15 of them. There's probably a lot of other odd, not counting like people who, have their work emails on their personal phones or like how your Amazon speaker or Google speaker or your smartwatch and all these different facets of tech today interact with your life. Those are basically just around your cell phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other than that, is there anything else you want to touch on? I feel like we kind of slammed it as far as cell phones go.
Not so much. I think we covered a lot of the bases. If you guys like the segment Wah We Wow or Wah We Know, go ahead and let us know or, leave a like, share, comment, do all that stuff.
Yeah, guys, once again, thanks for listening and think about not using your cell phone as much besides while listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Catch you guys next time.